Warm welcome to all our Duchess members. And I'd like to especially recognize the presence of our honorary member, Dr. Preetika Chari. A warm welcome to the President, Ms. Nina Kothari, and the members of the Junior Sakhi Mandal, the President Shobha Gupta, and members of the Inner Wheel Club of Madras. Thank you all for joining us. And to all our friends out there who have joined us today for this very special meeting. Welcome to our Duchess meeting, and I'm sure we are all looking forward to an inspiring and meaningful evening. Before I go on any further, I'd like to invite our President, Ms. Nina Reddy, to say a few words. Nina? Nina?
Myself, yeah. Okay, this is a very special day, Amma, that you're again addressing the Duchess Club. And it's been quite some time since we really sat and chatted, that you chatted to the Duchess members. Let me tell you, we're all really eagerly waiting to listen to your words of wisdom, because I have been in conversation with you a couple of times, and I know you're doing such wonderful, wonderful work. So really looking forward to that. And at the Duchess Club, we call Sivasankari Amma, okay? And I think she's a real mother to all of us. And to me, especially, I can tell you from my perspective, Amma has been there for me for every good and bad thing that has happened. Okay, every good and not so good thing that has happened in my life. And I really look forward to everything that she, she's actually my mentor in many different ways. She's given me advice on emotions, she's given me advice on finance, and then she's given me advice on business. So I really look forward to my conversations with her, and I wish you all the best. Just want to tell you that I love you very, very much, Amma. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Nina. The pandemic certainly did descend on us like a dark cloud. Lockdown, COVID, stay safe, quarantine have become part of our daily language. And yes, we have taken it in our stride and tried to deal with it in our own different ways. The pandemic have inspired people to pause, listen, and reflect. This new quietude with which we are very unused to, is this an opportunity for us to slow down and savor life, to learn and unlearn, to take one day at a time? I'd like to hand over now to one of our members, Asha Sampath, to formally introduce our guest speaker for today, Ms.Sivasankari, noted activist and author, who will share her views and experiences on the pandemic. Over to Asha Sampath.
Thank you so much, Rati, and good evening to each and every one of you. Sivasankari ma'am, I am honored, privileged, and thrilled all at the same time to be introducing you to this august audience. Not only because you're a towering personality in the world of books and Tamil literature, but also because of a personal connect. It was the year 1984 and I was fresh out of college. And that is when I saw you. I had heard my mother and her sisters rave and talk about your novel, Palangal, which is the story of women across 3 generations. I took a devilish delight, I must say, when I told my mother and my aunts that I had seen the star of their novel, Sivasankari herself. I was really awestruck. Fast forward to the year 2015, my first trip with the Duchess Travel Wing to Sri Lanka. And who did I see among all the other beautiful women? None other than Sivasankari ma'am herself. You can imagine my excitement. As soon as the plane landed at Colombo Airport and we disembarked, I remember running up to her and babbling away in excitement. I remember the sweet smile on Sivasankari ma'am's face as she indulged me. And then out of the blue, I just asked her, would you please speak to my mother? And gracious as she is, she immediately said yes at that very instant. During the Sri Lanka trip, I had the opportunity to see her up close. And I realized what a warm, down to earth, simple, affectionate, and caring human being she is. Sivasankari ma'am, that is the image of you I shall always carry in my heart. Now on to the formal introduction. Not that she needs one. The very fact that so many of you are here today just to listen to Sivasankari ma'am is proof enough of her popularity. Sivasankari ma'am is a well-known Tamil author and activist. She has done everything in the writing field. Novels, novellas, travelogues, biographies, articles, you name it, she's been there, she's done it. And we are so very proud that she is an honorary member of the Duchess Club. One of her books, Surya Vamsham, was released at one of the Duchess Club meets among eminent personalities in the literary field. I recall now a wonderful quote about Sivasankari ma'am by one Mr. S.R. Govindarajan, an educationist. Sivasankari is the superscribe of emotive expressions and social commitment. This, in a nutshell, describes Sivasankari ma'am's work and her writing. Her mega project or magnum opus, Knit India Through Literature, is an astounding piece of work. It had taken her 14 years to complete that. And in that, she has involved 18 languages of our country. And the mission of that project was to connect Indians to Indians through literature and culture. Amazing, isn't it? We must all read that wonderful work of Sivasankari ma'am. I would like to call her Sivasankari Amma as we do in the Duchess Club. Ma'am sounds too formal, Sivasankari Amma. Another aspect of her that probably you do not know is that she is also a Bharatanatyam dancer who has given performances in India and abroad. She is also very well trained in classical South Indian music. There is so much more to this fascinating woman we know as Sivasankari. Many awards adorn her shelves. She is revered and respected in the literary world. And we are so proud that she is now the patron of the newly launched Duchess Book Club, the Page Turners. I think I have overshot my time of introduction because there is so much more to her. There are volumes that I can go on. I'll probably take all of 1 hour if I have to talk about her. But coming to the present situation, she has come back after 30 years. The pandemic has been a blessing to many of us, her fans. She has written 4 short stories during this pandemic time. And we are so looking forward to reading them, Sivasankari Amma. Now, with a further ado, I would like you to please take the floor. Thank you so much for being there with us, always supporting us and inspiring us. Thank you, Amma.
Thank you. Ma'am, it's over to you now, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet so many of you after such a long time. I hope you, everyone in your family, are happy, safe, healthy, not only physically but also mentally. Like Rati said before, there are so many people who have done so many nice things during this lockdown period. I mean, many innovations have happened. Even among you, I'm sure many of you would have done something which you have never done before. I mean, they always say, right? Necessity is the mother of invention. So during this lock period, when you people have done so much, I really don't know what I'm going to tell you new. Nina told me, Rati told me that they're expecting some inspiration. My talk should be an inspiration to every one of you. I don't know whether it's going to be an inspiration, but I do hope you all find it interesting. Okay, let me start with a story. Okay, this is a story that was told to me by my mother when I was a young girl. The story is supposed to have happened a few centuries ago when there was no electricity or road transport or anything like that. There was a small village in the valley of a hill where there were hardly 50 families living in small hut-like places, small farmers who had small lands, and they cultivated vegetables, and they would harvest that vegetable and pack it up on top of a donkey or a horse, which they have, and take the produce to the nearby town, which is about 2-3 miles away, and sell the produce there, and then buy whatever provisions they want and come back. This is their daily routine, and they lived a very, very simple life. I'm sorry about my cough. I hope you people don't mind it. So what happened was, in that small village, there was a father and a son. Mother died long before, and the son was about 20, 21. They had a small piece of land. They cultivated vegetables, and they had a female horse. And they would pack up their things on the horse and go through a steep climb and go to the city or town and sell the thing and come back. They were leading a very simple life. One day, when father and son got up from their sleep, they were shocked to find that their female horse was missing. I mean, when the horse is missing, everything is gone. Everything comes to a standstill. So the villagers were so equally shocked. And they all came to him, the father, and said, "Oh my God, this is your treasure. We can't even afford to buy a new horse. What will you do? It's a steep climb. You can't carry it on the head load." So they all said, "What a bad time you're going through." The father looked at them and said, "Why do you say it's a bad time? Why can't it be a good time?" The villagers were taken aback. They said, "Probably this man is just trying to console us." 2 days later, his female horse returned from the forest, followed by a male horse. So a male horse came to them free. It was a wild horse. It has followed the female horse. So the entire village said, "Oh my God, this man is so right. Look at that, it's a good time, not a bad time at all, because he has got a house free, a new house free." So they all again went to him and said, "My God, what you said is so true. Not at all a bad time. It is such a good time." Then the father looked them up and then said again, "Why do you call it a good time? It could be a bad time." You know, the villagers got angry. They didn't speak anything. They just dispersed. And 2 days later, when the son was trying to tame the wild horse, the male horse, he fell down, and it was a very bad fall. He fractured his thigh and he was bedridden. Again, the villagers were aghast. They said, "My God, what will this old man do? Now that his son, who is helping him in the field work and taking the horses, maintaining the horses, going to the town and everything, now he's bedridden." So they couldn't help them. So they go to the father again and say, "We are very sorry. As you rightly said, it is a bad time, not a good time." So the father again looked up at them and said, "Why do you say it's a bad time? Why can't it be a good time?" Villagers said hereafterwards we'll never come and talk to him because he has gone crazy. But a couple of days later, the king's sipais officials came to the village, and they announced that the war has been announced and the king wants all the able-bodied male members between 20 and 30 to join the army. So they rounded up everybody in the village excepting this boy because he had a fracture and he was bedridden. So again the villagers said, look at this. This is indeed a good thing for him. Only for us it's a bad time. When my mother said this story to me, she always used to say, this is life. Nothing stays good for a long time. Nothing stays bad for a long time. It changes. Life is it's a circle. It goes up, it comes down. It goes up, it comes down. So if there is someone who says, oh, no, I have no problem at all, I'm fine, most probably they are lying. Or they don't really realize the situation. Because life is full of happiness, sufferings, problems, ecstasy, everything. It's a mixture. So if a person says, I do have problem, but I don't mind it, I know how to handle it, I still live with peace and happiness handling it, that's a beautiful way of looking at life. Talking about pandemic days, before I go into it, I just want to go back 1.5 years before what happened, to tell you what happened. 2018, June, out of blue, I had a massive heart attack. I don't have sugar, I don't have cholesterol, I don't have BP. Maybe I'm a little bit overweight, but I do my exercises. I'm very conscious about my food habits. I go to bed early, I don't have a late night. I get up at 4 and do my meditation and yoga and things like that. So for me, a massive heart attack of 99% block was a big, more than a shock. I was puzzled. How was it possible? So I asked the doctor. I had been keeping myself fit, and how did this happen? Doctor just smiled and he said, well, things do happen. You cannot predict what will happen, where, to whom, how. So I said, okay, I'll accept it. They put a stent on me and they put some restrictions for a couple of weeks that I shouldn't be meeting people in the fear of catching infection, and cut down my activities to a great extent. So after 4 weeks, when the doctor gave me permission that I can work at home without straining myself, I decided that I will do my memoirs, my biography, which was long pending. It was a massive work. It was a 2-volume book. And I just immersed myself in that. Of course, I never strained myself. And when it was happening, the whole thing was going on smoothly. Exactly 11 months after I had the first attack, I had a second massive heart attack. This is something, it was a joke for me, I just couldn't understand how this could happen. So again, I went to my surgeon, my doctor, and I asked him, how is it happening this way? They again said, you really don't know. You can be fit at 9 o'clock, but 10 o'clock you can fall seriously sick. This is the world, this is it. Then I asked him, what is the point in then trying to be fit? Then I myself realized, when they didn't answer, they didn't have an answer, so they couldn't. I felt, I'm trying to be fit because I feel good. I feel good about it, that's why. But at that point, I decided to accept reality. That was the most beautiful thing that happened to me. We may ask so many questions, friends. It's our prerogative and right to ask. But please don't expect answers for everything, because there are no answers for many questions. So long we are ready to accept that fact, it's fine. We can keep on asking questions. So this 1.5 years, but with all that restrictions, where I could not go out of the house and I could not meet people easily, and I had to be extra careful because it was 2 heart attacks within 1 year. I didn't mind it at all. You see, I started asking, instead of why me, I started asking, why not me? Why should we always ask why me? Why can't we just put our head up and ask why not me? So why not me? So to cut a long story short, that 1.5 years, I think, really paved the foundation for me to go through pandemic days, the lockdown days, very meaningfully, beautifully, without any frustration or any bitterness or any boredom. When the lockdown was announced, we started hearing about it from China and other things in February. None of us took it seriously, because if somebody had come and told us in February, that for the year afterwards, you don't know when it's going to end. You cannot socialize, no temples, no malls, no theaters, no big weddings, no big funerals, no schools, no colleges. I mean, nobody could have imagined a situation like that. Not only us, it's just not happened, not only in Tamil Nadu or India. It was happening throughout the world. It is still happening. Somebody tells me it's about happening more than 220 countries. Even when a world war breaks down, happens, hardly 4 or 5 countries would be intensely involved in that. Whereas here, this pandemic is happening about in 220 countries or more simultaneously, maybe more intense in some countries and less intense in certain countries due to certain reasons. But nobody is able to say when this is end of the tunnel is going to come. What is tomorrow going to be? Whether the vaccine has come or not. When will it come? At least now we have more clarity. When it started in March, when they announced the lockdown, all of us were confused. And we took it lightly. We never realized this is going to be this serious. But by middle of April, the seriousness started sinking in. When every channel, every paper, every media talked about the impact of COVID in America, in various countries, in Brazil, where, I don't know, some of you would have seen the video I've seen. They show people, somebody will be walking, suddenly they'll collapse. And in the mall, suddenly somebody will collapse. And they said it because the oxygen level goes down so suddenly, and they collapsed. And all these things were such strange and haunting news to all of us. On top of it, by April 15th, the misery of migrants started surfacing. Every channel, every paper, every magazine published pictures, and when you saw the visuals, your heart broke. Thousands and thousands of people with no work all of a sudden, and they don't have savings. So the next day meal was a problem for them. Children, some of them with the family. And en masse, many of them, thousands of them started to migrate from their working place to their own place. And I saw interviews where people said, if we have to die, I'd rather go to my hometown and die. It was ghastly. It was shocking. It was so disturbing, haunting. Whatever I could do as an individual, I was doing separately. But still, the writer in me said, do something. Let's do something about awareness. I wanted to have that awareness within myself. And so after, as Asha said, after nearly 20 years, I took up fiction writing again. I was busy with my Knit India through literature, which lasted for 16 years, the research, the field work and everything. Until I completed the work, it was 16 years. So until then, I didn't have time to write fiction. So after so many years, I decided to go back to fiction and write short stories. And the first story I wrote was about immigrants, the saga of immigrants. I called it Kudiyerigal. Kudiyerigal means migrants, and it was published in Kumudam. And the response I got from my readers and everybody was so making me feel, it gave me so much meaning to my life, because they said after 20 years also, you have not lost your touch. It's coming and hitting us the same way it used to do it. So then I went and searched into my cupboard for certain pads and books in which I had written, jotted down some knots, themes, some sparks. Not now, friends. I had done all that when I was living with my husband in Virupuram 40 years ago. I hadn't touched it the last 40 years. So I went searching for it. When I took out the pads, the papers had become so yellow, so brittle. I couldn't even turn the page. It started, becoming powders. Then I picked up 3 more themes from that and converted one into, again, a COVID situation one, and wrote 4 short stories. And one was published in Kalki, the other one in Amuda Surabhi, and like that. And so during this beginning of this COVID, I was so satisfied. I can't say happy. My life had become more meaningful by doing certain things which I was not doing for many years. And then once this is over in June, something again very, I want to take up a better challenge, bigger challenge. So long, this is my 52nd year of writing. I've been a writer for 52 years. I'm 77 years old. Next month I'll be 78. And for 52 years, this is my 52nd year. And I've always written by longhand. I don't know typing. And even when the personal computer came, Lalita, who was like a shadow for me, like a daughter, an assistant, my secretary, my everything, she used to take care of all my typing in the computer, feeding it and sending it to the magazines, respective magazines. So I never bothered about all those things. And I always take time to think. But once I'm ready with thoughts, it just comes out like a computer printout. So I write very fast. It's like a chain, what I write. Sometimes I used to call Lalita and say, Lalita, tell what I have written here. Even I could understand what I have written. So in this scenario, Lalita, 3 years before, she had suddenly she developed a cancer and she passed away. That was a very big, rude shock for me. I was shattered. But one has to accept reality and go forward, right? I've seen a lot of losses in my life. Loss is not new to me. But it pains, it hurts. But then you have to wipe your tears, get up and start walking again. That's what makes life more meaningful, friends, isn't it? So after Lalita passing away, this Surya Vamsam biography also, I had another person, Meenakshi. She came and recorded everything. She typed it and I corrected it, and that's how we did it. But this June, after writing these 4 stories, I said, let me take a bigger challenge. By the time I had tried some 1 or 2 apps, speech to text, but all of them are so disappointing because they're all created by the Western people. And our names, our situation, they are not able to bring it out at all. You say one thing and it types something. So it's impossible. I gave it up. But in May, a friend of mine told me that I'm trying this particular one. It's comparatively better try. So in the month of June, I downloaded that app and I sort of dictated 1 page. Half of it will come, half of it won't come, something else will come. So you have to type wherever it is necessary, type. I don't know Tamil typing at all. And a personal computer, because Lalita was using it, I never used it. My iPad does not have a compatibility for these apps. So I'm left only with my Android phone. And in that phone, I downloaded this app, I dictated it, and wherever I had to correct it with single finger, with a small keyboard, Tamil keyboard, I started typing Tamil. It took me a long time, but I said I will do it. And believe me, friends, please don't think I'm bragging, but I'm so happy. In 1.5 to 2 months, I typed 170 and odd pages in Tamil, and I sent it to Jayavahi, who was the author of the English book, 108 Pearls of Sai Baba. She's a great Sai Baba devotee, and she has written a book. Some of you might have read it. 5 years before Sai Baba is Still Alive, which I had translated into Tamil. Sai Baba Innamum Vazhirar. She calls me Amma too, and she wanted me to translate this 108 pearls, which were given to her during a trance, during her meditation, right from Baba. And for 2 years, I've been telling her I can't do it because I don't know how to type Tamil. She said, Amma, you write it and give, we'll get it typed somewhere. I said, nobody can understand my handwriting. But this June, my God, somehow I said, I think it's Baba who got into me, and holding a phone and typing without knowing typing, about 176 page. I thought it was something that gave me so much of fulfillment. This kind of self-confidence, courage, and perseverance, all these things doesn't come overnight, friends. It has to be nurtured over years. For me, I can distinctly say, although there are many incidents there to share, I just want to share only 2 incidents, which were almost like turning points in my life, helping me to inculcate these qualities I just now mentioned: self-confidence, courage, and to accept reality. The first one was in early 80s, Ananda Vigadan editor, Mr. Balasubramaniam. I was regularly contributing to Ananda Vigadan, and he called me one day and he said, you talk so much of positive things. Your thinking is positive. You always look at not at the black spots, but at the white spread. Why don't you do something about all these things and write a series of self-improvement articles? I thought that's a very good idea, because in that process, while thinking for that, it'll help me. I'll get new perception. I'll be forced to think from new angles. I learned so many new things. So that was a chance for me to learn something more about myself and also about so many other things. So I consulted doctors for medical issues, lawyers for legal issues, farmers for agriculture. Everybody connected with that particular type of work. I consulted every expert possible, and also brought in case histories and wrote it like a fiction. And it was called Chinna Noolkanda Namme Siraipaduthuvathu. For those who cannot understand the meaning of it, it just says, don't get imprisoned by a thread. It is up to us to feel that we are chained by something, and we can sit in a corner and cry and become immobilized. It is up to us to think it's only a thread. I'll break it and come and fly free. It's up to us. The choice is ours. So many people are there with massive problems, losses, losing a dear one, financial loss, all kinds of problems. Still, they will say, no, like a phoenix bird, I'll come out. I'll do it. I can do it. So this is not a chain. It's only a thread. But I've seen some people, even if they get 2 pimples, which refuse to go, stubborn pimples, finished. They think they've lost everything. They sit in a corner and cry and totally immobilized. They allow themselves, even a small thing, to chain them, imprison them. Whereas it is up to us to sort of feel that it's a thread and we can break it and come. When I was doing work for this, research, paid work, and then writing it, it brought in a lot of changes in me. I started realizing about self-analysis. Not self-realization, self-analysis. And self-criticism. Self-analysis is what you should know your pluses and your minuses before somebody else points it out to you. If I'm short-tempered, I should know. If I'm impatient, I should know. If I have a generous heart, I should know. So some people asked me, how do you say this self-analysis? Isn't it something only for very knowledgeable, learned people? I said, no. When you have when you come and tell me that you won't go into the sun because it gives you headache, when you come and tell me you can't take chilies because you have ulcer, similarly, what suits your body, what doesn't suit, we all know. So why can't we know what suits our mind, what doesn't suit our mind? It's up to us. If I do a small thing to somebody in spite of my busy schedule, and that makes me happy, that's a plus point. When I could be nice to my maidservant, instead I shout at her and it irritates me, that's a minus point. So simply speaking, whatever that makes you happy, in a sense, fulfillment, it gives fulfillment, they're all your pluses. Whatever makes you regret, angry, irritate, and these are all minuses. So every night before I go to bed, I try to use to analyze, which are all the things that gave me sense of fulfillment. It could be a very small thing, it could be a major thing, anything. Then I also analyzed my minuses. Then I used to think, okay, from tomorrow onwards, I'll try to, because please don't be overconfident. I used to say, I'll try to reduce my minuses and increase my pluses. And over the years, it helped. It paid dividends. That book was a brilliant eye-opener for me. And the second incident about which I want to talk is meeting my guru, my spiritual guru, Swami Shuddhananda. Few years after my husband died, normally I don't go to near Swamiji's and all these people too much, because I always felt I don't need a middleman between God and me. I'm a total believer of God. I've surrendered myself to God. I see my relationship with God is so different. And I see God as my mother, father, my friend, my child, my companion. So I love God. Always people, when somebody says she's a God-fearing person, I always used to say, please never say that. Why should you be afraid of God? Instead, say God-loving person. You will never be afraid of your mother, no? You will respect her. You will love her. So similarly, we have to love God and respect God. Why should we be scared of God? There's no need at all. So my relationship with God was, I never wanted a middle person between me and God. And I heard about Swami Shuddhananda through some of my learned friends. And whatever I heard, it impressed me. Like, you can always take the right ones which suits you from anybody so that it can make you a better person. So when I went to his class, first class, I still remember, during the class, there were a few students and he was just talking about some subject, and in between, he just said, if you want, in connection with that subject he was talking about, if you want electrical goods, you go to that kind of shop. If you want provisions, you go to a grocery shop. If you want such a thing, you go to a mall. If you want textiles, you go to a good cloth shop. Medicine means you go to a pharmacy. But he said, if you want happiness, where will you go and buy it? Where will you go and buy happiness? Like you buy everything else. You may have money, but you may buy everything. But where will you go and buy happiness? Then when we were all quiet, with a twinkle, he said, you cannot buy it anywhere because happiness does not have an external address. So the talk continued about happiness. And he said, it's even wrong to say that happiness is within you. Even there, you are separating happiness from you, because you are happiness. That's what he used to say. You are happiness. Your natural, yourself, natural, innate quality is to be happy. So I asked him, how do you say it's natural to be happy? He said, okay, when you have a headache, you immediately, you ask anyone, does anyone want to stay with a headache? Nobody will say that. Somebody would put a balm, somebody would put a tablet, somebody would listen, go and sleep, somebody would go with a fresh air. Okay, somebody has lost somebody. Do you, when you're crying, do you want to cry 24 hours without food, without sleep, and stay like that? No, you somehow you want to meet people and talk about it and get out of it, or travel, do something to get yourself, whether it's a physical misery or a mental misery. Nobody wants to just stay in there. You want to do something to get out of it. But have you ever heard anyone say, I'm very happy today, I want to get out of it? Has anyone come forward to say that, oh, I'm full of happiness, I don't want this, I want to get out of it? No, that's because he said it was, to be happy is our natural self. To be unhappy is unnatural. That's why we want to get out of it. When he talked about all these things, it was so practical for me. And when I started practicing it, it helped me. Accepting reality, that's very important. Whether it was my heart attack or losing my husband. When I lost my husband, people used to come and tell me, I was very young. They used to tell me, don't worry, please imagine he's with you. He's with you, he's always. No, he was not with me. I didn't have a shoulder to lean on him when I wanted to cry. I didn't have his suggestions when I asked her questions. No, there was nothing. There was a vacuum. When the wound was so raw, it's very difficult to accept all these things. But later on, slowly you start living with your memories and take all the pluses from your memories, then it becomes a beautiful thing. But until then, so you cannot deceive yourself. You cannot be an escapist in not accepting reality. Whatever it is, however painful, hurtful it is. If my heart attack, 2 heart attacks in 11 months was painful, it is painful. Sorry, what to do? I underwent a miserable time, 21 days in the hospital with the heart rate running up to 140, all kinds of complications for no reason. I don't know. But that's reality. I had to accept it. Contradicting with reality is not good for anybody. The sooner we learn to accept reality is very good for each one of us. So all these things, Swamiji, and I translated one of his two books of his, beautiful books. God, my best friend. Think about it. Kadavul and Shiranda Nanbar. I translated it. And managing thoughts. I said, Yennam Vasapadam. If you can, he'll never say control anger or control thoughts. No, he'll say manage. All these things, suited me and helped me to practice, internalize, and start practice. So that is why I could accept all these things. I live alone, my friends. I have a wonderful cook with me who is very affectionate and takes care of me, but she cannot be my companion, right? But I live alone. It's okay. During, whether it is my 1.5 years of my heart problem or during this pandemic time, not once, please believe me, not once I felt bored or irritated or frustrated or depressed. I accepted reality. See, if there is life is full of choices. Again, I have to go back to Swamiji again. He'll give simple examples. Supposing you want to cross a road. You stand in this side of the road and you want to cross the road and go and catch a bus so that you can go to the office. Minimum 3 choices are there. First, you, as planned, you cross, catch the bus and go to the office on right time. Supposing by the time you cross, some vehicles come in between, you delay, the bus goes away. That means you have to wait for the next bus, which could be another half an hour, or take an auto or go. It's up to you. That's the second choice. And the third one is, while crossing, a vehicle can come and hit. You may die or you may end up in a hospital. So even for such a simple act, there are so many possibilities and then so many choices. Whether to be happy or unhappy, the choice is mine. I have to decide. It's in my hands. My mother, just because she gave birth to me, she cannot eat for my hunger. My husband, because I loved him so much, whenever I'm sleepy, he cannot say, Jibu, let me go and sleep now. No, no, nobody will accept it. For one day, probably we'll tolerate it. Second day onwards, we'll say, no, 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 leave me alone. I want to eat my food. I want to have my sleep. So in life, uh, everything has choices. And the moment we learn to accept reality, that's what makes life much easier and very, very meaningful. And the pandemic time had a lot of good things that had happening and bad things happening. Bad things where people lost their job, half salary, and no tram, everything shut down. Right from temple, have you ever heard of Tirupati temple? And all the Shirdi and everything closed for months together. People are forced to stay inside the house. And it was suffocating because not everybody has spacious, palatial places, garden and everything. But the good thing is people who had become islands, working father, mother and the children, all keeping their phones and doing WhatsApp and internet and playing games in their rooms. Now they're forced to come to the dining table and they started having food together. In a lot of places, the bonding became better. But in the initial days, a lot of confusion was there because nobody knew what's happening going around. Governments were trying to do their best, but still that was not sufficient. And the people were confused. Even today we are confused. But today we are much better in understanding the reality because we have started accepting the reality. If we are fighting with reality, reality is like a shadow. It will come with you wherever you go. One day, if you turn and look at it, you'll be scared. Don't. Right from the beginning, you know that the shadow is going to come with you. So that is reality. Accepting reality is very, very, very important. And also, in this pandemic days, after 3 months, 4 months, people started feeling a bit suffocated because too much of togetherness. Nobody wants it. All of us want our space, breathing on each other's neck, 24 hours together. I mean, men taking up household chores, like many men came and called me and told me that now they are, the house sweeping and mopping is their responsibility. And they've gone to the kitchen and started washing the vessels, which they've never done before in their lives. These are all very good things. But after 3 months, 4 months, people get tired, they get exhausted. And being so close together without any room for privacy, that caused a lot of suffocation, irritation, frustration, arguments. But again, one has to understand, my friends, whether it is the good side or good aspects or the bad aspects, it is up to us to choose what we want and try to manage as best as we can. Because it's just not happening in Tamil Nadu or in your house or my house, it's happening all over the world. So the sooner we learn to accept reality and start balancing between the good and bad, I think that alone can give us a lot of meaning to the life and a lot of peaceful living. Also, this is the time when one should realize there's a difference between want and need. Excuse me. How many of us at least have given a thought about want, the difference between want and need? A need is something without which you cannot survive. Air, water, food, basic clothes, shelter. All these things are absolutely necessary for one to live. So they're all needs. All other things, whether you want a bigger house with swimming pool or a bigger car or this or that, or go for a entertainment or whatever it is. If you can afford it, if you have earned, if you have got that kind of a facility, please go ahead and do it. Nothing wrong in doing it. But if you're going to borrow money and keep fulfilling your wants, it sometimes lands, most of the time, it lands you in trouble. So before we enter into any big expenditure, I think all of us should pause for a second and ask ourselves sincerely, is this a need or a want? All this kind of small awareness during this pandemic times, it has really helped a lot of people to face life in a much better way. And before I end, I just want to tell you one more beautiful thing which is happening very seriously in my life for the past 2 years. I've always been thankful for what I have in my life. I've never longed or missed what I don't have. I never compare myself with people who have something which I don't have. I've always felt happy for them that they have it. Comparing myself with others, it's God's blessing. It's God's blessing. Not that I can say I cultivated it. No. And so I've always said, I've been grateful for people who have been nice to me and who have brought in meaning into my life for everything. But now for the past 2 years, the word gratitude has taken a big role in my life. The word gratitude, oh my God, it's pregnant with meaning. You start the day with gratitude, saying thanks to who? First, I say thanks to my Creator. It can be God, it can be nature, it can be anything. You call it anything you want, but there is a Creator. Then I thank the universe for giving me this air, water, earth, everything. Whatever is happening around me, the universe is giving me, right? And the third one I offer my thanks every day is Panchabhutas, the 5 elements. My body, everybody's body, every living form is made out of this 5 elements. And we have to be thankful to the 5 elements. And when one element gets angry, the fury, in California, the forest fire is raging for how many months? And the floods happening in Karnataka and Kerala and certain parts of Eastern India. If nature decides to go against us, it can be terrible. But in this pandemic time, that's one more good thing that has happened. The ecological system has improved. The air has become better because the pollution has come down. So the 5 elements are very important to keep us going. So I thank them. Then I thank my forefathers and my parents for giving me the genes which have made me what I am today. Unless they give the seed to me, I cannot nurture it. Maybe I have nurtured it, but the seed has to be a potent seed that has come from them. So I have to thank my ancestors and my parents. And my family and friends who are like sunshine and breeze in my life, giving me sparkling moments whenever you feel low or something like that. So I thank my friends and my family. And finally, friends, the most important, not the least, the unknown, thousands and lakhs of people, but for whom you and I cannot lead the life we are leading right now. I'll just give you one example, small example. You all take coffee in the morning or tea in the morning or take idli. The simplest thing is idli is rice, urad dal and salt. That's all. And in coffee or tea, it is the decoction, coffee or tea, milk and sugar. Just take the coffee beans right from the plantation until it comes to your table. You know how many thousands of people are involved? When you say coffee plantation, think of the manure and the people who produce the manure and the equipments they use to produce the manure and the raw material they gather for the manure and the people who work for that. Then water, how does it come? The electricity, how is it produced? Thousands of people are involved in every one of it, one of these actions. So by the time the coffee bean comes to your table as a coffee powder decoction, you are indebted to at least 1,000 people for making that happen. Similarly with a cow, the feed for the cow, and the rope they tie. I mean, one day I tried to take a note of all these things. I just couldn't. It was mind-boggling, friends. One item I could not, if you go to the root has to go with, if it's a cup, it means steel. You go to the iron ore, how many people digging it, and the machinery that is required, and the people who made the machinery. You have to go like that. The nuts, bolt. Oh my God, it's mind-boggling. So unless lakhs and people, unknown people, whom we don't even know where they live, what they do, unless they contribute their work to us, we cannot live the life we lead. All the luxuries, everything we eat, what the dresses we do. Many people, I used to always say no to people when they call me, so Sivasankari, a social worker. No, doing social work is my commitment because I take so much from the society. Every one of us takes so much from the society. So we have to give back, isn't it? So we have to say thank you. My day starts with this gratitude with all these people. And even when I have a glass of water, I first say thank you. Believe it or not, I say thank you. Because there are so many people who can't even get a cup of water in some places. And my day also ends with gratitude. That's why it makes me feel so good, whether it's pandemic days or whether it's any other hard days, I'm still able to face it with a smile. And let me end my speech with, again, a short story, anecdote or story. Two friends, Hari and Giri. Some of you might have heard this because I have talked about all these things in many of my speeches. Hari and Giri, two good friends. They want to cross a desert and go to another town in the opposite side. So they both decided to go together. While they're walking, suddenly they indulge in an argument and it gets so heated up, Hari slaps Giri hard. Giri doesn't say anything. He doesn't hit him back or at least ask him, why did you do like that? No. For a second, he just stood still, then bent down and on the sand, desert sand, he said, today my best friend slapped me. Hari didn't understand why is he doing this, but he didn't ask anything. Both of them continued to walk and there was an oasis, small pond with palm trees and everything. So both of them were so thirsty. They went in to drink the water and this chap, Giri, who received the slap, remember, he fell down into the pond and it was a deep pond and he didn't know how to swim. This Hari, who slapped him, this friend, immediately jumped and brought him out and did the first aid and saved him. When Giri opened his eyes, he just looked around, picked up a sharp stone and went to the rock by the side and etched on that, today my best friend saved my life. Then Hari was so puzzled. He said, hey, what are you doing? When I slapped, you wrote on the sand, today my best friend slapped me. And today when I'm saving you, you didn't even say thank you to me. Instead, you go and etch on the rock that today my best friend saved me. What are you doing? Then this Giri said, whatever negative people do or say, it should be blown away from your heart like words written on the sand. But whatever good people do to you or say to you should stay inside you, etched inside you, chiseled inside you like a word on the rock. Then only you will always remember the positives and you'll always give up the negatives. Thank you so much, friends. I hope you all at least enjoyed and you found it interesting. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Rati. Thank you, Anos and Sujata. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We feel we can go on listening to you. And is there any questions out there, Sujata, before we move on?
No, there aren't any questions. There have been so many comments about how inspiring, how touching, how deeply motivating, and how much of it to accept reality. So many comments on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anybody else have anything to say?
I'm just unmuting.
Yeah. Any questions out there?
No, I don't think we should keep this a question and answer session because we can have it later on if at all. This is just a, let people contemplate what I've said, or agree with me or disagree with me. That's different.
I thought you should, Sujata, I thought you should unmute everybody so we can all clap for this wonderful
session. The problem is if I unmute, everybody will start talking and then we'll not be able to
I just wanted to clap. That's all. Yeah. That's all my comment is.
Thank you, Pritika.
It was lovely, Sivasankari.
Thank you, Pritika. Coming from you means a lot to me. Thank you.
Anita, Anu Sachdev, if you want to say something? I thought I saw her putting up hand. Is she there? Anu Sachdev.
No, she's not there. I can't see her.
I just want to add something.
Yes, Shailaja.
Ma'am, it was so inspiring to hear you. Because Amma, one second, I'm just admitting somebody. Because Surya Vamsham, when you wrote about that, and later what you said about the 4 short stories and how you went about with the app, I think those stories, all that, but practically on the life lane, when you're saying that, I think that's what inspires us most to continue doing whatever we are doing. And Tanya, you're doing all those things. I think it was again like reading you when we were a young girl, reading you and feeling inspired. Ma. Thank you so much. Thank you, Duchess.
Also, it means there's no end to learning. She learned how to type. Anybody can do it. You can learn it anytime if you just make up your mind to do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Anu is there.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anu is there.
Who's that?
Anu Sachdev is there in case.
Anu Sachdev.
Ma, thank you so much for such a lovely, inspiring talk today. You have always been my inspiration. And yes, the pandemic has taught me a lot of things, a lot of acceptance and gratitude. That word has become so important to me. I mean, that's all. Thank you, Amma. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anu.
What
Amma
makes
today,
Rati, what makes Amma's talk and our association with her so significant is that, she actually walks her talk.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, absolutely agree, Nina. And I think that's what we also have, over the years with our association, learned to you.
For 20 years, and at this point, I want to thank Rati for introducing Amma to the Duchess Club. Thank you, Rati, so much.
Thank you, Rati. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You were the topmost choice along with Suhasini and Dr. Pritika Achari. Remember, you are the ones who talked to Amma. And I remember giving Amma a call that day and said, what do I call you? She said, call me Amma, very simply, So since then it is that. So thank you much. It was beautiful. And I was listening to every word. I was hanging on to every word. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I think Rati, on behalf of all the members, I want to just representing each Duchess Club member, want to thank the 5 of you for continuing with so many activities, for introducing whole bunch of ladies from Chennai to people like Doctor and Sivasankari Ma and several of them. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, we are so... We can see that. And I, like Nina said, we were hanging on to every word that you said. And when you mentioned to be happy is our natural self, it sounded so comforting and gratifying, especially for me, you know. And yes, we must accept reality, and that's the way forward, you know. There's no other way, right? And your talk, like everyone was mentioning, your talk was so inspiring, and it gave us all something to think about, to ponder. And again, I'd like to thank you for spending the evening with all of us. We are truly privileged.
It's my pleasure,
Truly
because
privileged.
I've been so fond of Duchess and all of you. Nina, she's like a daughter to me, and I take so much out of her, you know, whether it's a pizza or organizing a big function, it's all you people. And Nina, you stand by me and you get it done, and you're all my daughters, as you rightly said. I'm proud to have such daughters. And if you people think this evening has gone meaningfully, I'm very happy about it. Thank you.
Definitely it has. And it's so heartening to see all our friends out there who've come today to listen to Sivasankari ma'am talk. Thank you all for joining us this evening. And
How many
we'll
people
meet
have
again
attended
soon.
today?
Around
Can we take some?
190.
Oh, we were 177.
No,
How many?
188, I saw 188.
About 189.
Yeah, 188 when you
188.
started. When you started. Can
Oh,
we take
wow.
a few
Okay,
photographs and then we can say our byes?
Yes,
Okay,
can
sure.
all of you
Sujata?
here?
And
Yes,
thank you, Sujata, my technical director. Thank you so much. I love her.
Okay, everybody can look here. Thank you.
So she said she saw 190 briefly. At one time it was 190.
Sushi says so, yeah. Sushi Natraj says she saw one.
You've taken the photographs?
Yes,
Ma'am, all the clubs who joined are so thankful that, you know,
And
like
yeah, all the members from, yes, Sakhi Mandal and
all of them are so happy to have been a part of today's talk. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you.
So bye,
Thank
bye,
you
girls.
all, ladies.
Thank you,
I'm
ma'am.
taking
Thank you,
leave.
Amma.
Bye, bye. Take care, all
Bye,
of you.
thank you. Bye-bye. Pritika, see you, Dr. Pritika.
Yeah. See you, doc, soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Hi, Aninda. I can see you from Mysore, Aninda.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Ananda.
Yeah, she's there.
Hi,
All
Ananda.
over. Oh my, Raji, Rajesh, Kala, Javanti. Hi,
everybody's there.
Asha Sampath is there. There she is.
Hey, Shashi Akka. Hi, Shashi Akka.
Oh, yeah, she's there. Hi.
Unmute.
We can't hear her. Unmute her. Unmute Shashi Akka.
There she is.
I've unmuted?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've done?
Yes, you have, Akka.
Thank you. It was lovely. It was lovely. I enjoyed it.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank
Bye.
you. Fantastic lady. Very inspiring.
Yeah. I'm glad
Thanks,
you came
Rajni.
in.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, good night. Okay, how sweet.
Who
Yeah,
else is
right.
there? Is Ravi still there?
Rati asked Amma to take out the dish for herself.
Nina.
Enama, Dishti.
You?
Yeah. It's not, yeah. Where are you, Nina? I can't see you.
Yeah.
Below 98.2.
I
Okay.
can see Shashika now. She's wearing a red
Yeah,
top.
bye, Nina.
Red dress, yeah.
Rati, I'll leave now, girls. I'm just leaving now. Okay.
Okay, Anu,
Yeah,
bye.
I'll see you all soon. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Rati. Bye, Nina. Bye, Suji.
Thank
Bye,
you.
girls. See you.
Welcome, dear. Welcome.
Bye, girls. Bye.
Thank you, Rati.
Bye,
That
Anu.
was such a great program. Thanks so much, Rati.
Thank you, Rati.
Who's that? Javanti.
Javanti. Yes,
Yes,
Rati.
Javanti.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining in. Nice
No,
to see
not
you.
at
I
all.
saw
My pleasure.
Sushi was there. I don't know if she's still there.
No, she left.
Okay.
There, yeah.
She left?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just leaving. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Really enjoy
Welcome.
your programs, and this one was really special.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. Who else is there?
Raji is there, Monica is there.
Vijayaka was supposed to come in. Is that Ganesh is Vijayaka's? No, no.
No.
Hi,
No,
Priya
Ganesh is
Rajan.
a Cinema Rendezvous member, Rati.
Oh, okay.
Tammy is
Why
there.
is Priya wearing is she walking a dog or something, Priya Rajan?
Wearing a mask, you mean?
She's wearing a mask, but I see her moving around.
No, she's in
like she's
office.
walking.
Somewhere.
She's in office. She's in office, I think. Hey,
Nita is
Kamala.
there.
Nina, Kamala is there.
I saw maximum comments from Camilla.
That means she's not commenting on the green goddesses at that time.
No, I think she was
must be commenting here.
I think she enjoyed it.
Yes, completely here, correct.
Good turnout from Savera also, Nina. Ratish, whole lot of them. Jesu went in and out a couple of times.
They want to be here because they, Amma's always had all her important functions at Savera, so they relate in different ways. All her significant functions have been here. Rati has 60 years, her 70 years, things like that.
And a book release, a couple of book releases also, right?
Yeah. One wedding, I think her brother's child's wedding, things like that.
Yes.
I think she has done here, so I feel privileged,
Yeah.
Priya Rajan is asking to be unmuted.
Vidya Rajan. Priya Rajan, yeah. She's
Hi,
desperately
everyone.
trying to talk. Priya.
I have to attend a client meet, and I'm sitting and I'm listening to ma'am for like half an hour or so. Yeah, because I couldn't.
So when did you listen to your client? When did you listen to your client?
No. From 3, I'm here with my client. In between, I told her I can't miss this. Yeah, so I missed half of it. But I'm planning to, it must be recorded, right?
It's on Facebook.
Yes.
It's on Facebook.
Yes,
Yeah,
you can
so
see it on
I'll watch
Facebook.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, I will do that. Yeah, it was lovely. You should have more of Sivasankari ma'am.
Yes.
Actually, Priya has been in close touch with Amma also, even like Shailaja.
Yeah. In fact, she blessed Mitu. She did. I sent her messages and she blessed Mitu and Pradeep. I want to take them first to her, like when all this settles down. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been interacting with her also, Rati.
Yeah. Good.
In fact, long time back, we went for a movie together. Me,
Remember
ma'am,
that.
and Mitu. Yeah.
It seems so long back, right? Back, I think, yeah.
Priya got muted again, Priya.
Okay, good one. Lovely evening. So, guys, I'll see you then.
Hey, Shailaja, thank your mom for coming in.
Yeah.
Mom was in, right?
Letting people in.
And letting people in. Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Shailaja. I thought of you. Finally, you too.
Thank you, Da. Thank you so much, Shailaja.
So you see the office after a long time, right?
Yeah, it looks very good. Rati,
it's the office.
I have to put that together. Show it off, Shaila.
Very nice.
Oh, is that your office, Shailaja?
Yes.
Oh, I've never seen it.
How many years back did I do that, Shaila?
Must be 6 years, Nina.
About 6 years.
Wow.
All the bright colors, full Savera team with the interiors. Nina's guidance. So that's why I thought I should show it to her.
It was an older house, so we just had to redo a few things, right? And Shaila, you have lost your weight, looking good.
Yeah, yes, I have. Thanks.
Yeah, can make out.
Okay.
Just
good. Very nice meeting, ladies. Just wanted to say it was fantastic. I don't remember what she said 15 years back at the Aura launch. I've really forgotten. I've read so much.
Yeah.
Ati, remember Aura launch? She came along, correct?
Yes,
15 years back.
I
have read most of her works, when I was growing up and seen her serials and movies and all that. And it was awesome to listen to her now after such a long break. In fact, Shailaja, I don't know, I mean, for that Parthiban CR meeting, she had come. So at that time, I happened to sit next to her and I was chatting up with her. She was very, very approachable even then. So fantastic meeting. And as she said rightly, you just only need to contemplate or introspect about what she said and not ask any questions.
I know. Actually, you can't ask Sivasankari any question because she has the answers. I mean, she's laid it all out for you, you know, so.
Thank you so much. Got to go.
Good job, Rati. Good job, Rati. And Asha also.
Asha's gone, I think.
Asha looks fabulous.
Yeah, Asha's looking good. Thank you,
Asha
thank you.
Asha's sari was fantastic, no?
Yeah, she's looking good.
Really looks
very good.
fabulous. Yeah.
Bye, Shailja.
Thanks, Sujata. Thank you, Sujata.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye, girls.
Now let's accept reality and get back to reality.
No, my